would. We recorded DI tracks for all the stringed instruments, guitars and bass, at Brody's home studio, and then basically imported those tracks over to Atrium so they can be reamped and use the final tones on the record.
I started writing right after we got out of Mana Studios in 2013. I guess I kind of wanted to explore more avenues of sound, and having a recording studio at my house really helped with me being able to experiment with different sounds and stuff like that, and different arrangements.
This is a lot different than what I'm usually used to, especially as a bass player, because so much of my playing is reactive to what the drums do. That like there's certain note groupings and here and there that like I might have done differently had I recorded the stuff after the final drum takes were done.
The music was technically challenging, and basically I just pushed myself to keep on playing it, and as I got more comfortable with the music, it came easier to me. Songwriting is also a little bit easier to see. I can see the structure more, and I understand the music better.
Preparation for this whole album was just to be locked on with the click. I practice at a workshop. Since I live in New York, I can't have an actual kit, so I travel 4 miles on bike and just practice from song 1 to song 10 straight through. We have the Pearl Masters MCX. We got 10, 12, 16, Remo Emperors, Masters MCX snare, control sound, vinyl cymbals, Axis pedals, and Roland SPDS.
Basically my whole philosophy towards my playing in this band has been just play stuff that's just super hard all the time. Like when I first joined this band, I was like, I have to make this stuff so hard that no one else can play it. But while we were down in Florida at Mana Studios recording with Eric, he told I was continuing that tradition, and he kind of stopped and told me why don't you lay back a little bit more and feel the groove. You could play in the pocket a little more, and this little shitty part of me is like, no, I'm gonna play really hard stuff. But then the other more mature side says that does sound good. That is going to sound better, and it's going to feel better for the listener.
This is a batch of 10 or 11 completely new songs, so I could kind of start from the ground up with my playing and kind of go from there, whereas on the first album it was sort of a compilation of all of our works for the 5 years that we've been a band. I also started working in a different job that allowed me to have more time at home to practice guitar and play guitar, so I just had a lot of time to develop my technique on this album. And I don't know, listening back to the last one, I wasn't super happy with my lead work. I felt like what little bit of lead work there was on the album wasn't as developed as I had wanted it to be. So I really wanted to focus my attention on this album, on my lead playing in particular.
I feel that some of the things I focused on was just mostly being comfortable in the studio, being able to come in and execute my parts, and not be too stressed out about if I'm doing something right or I'm doing something wrong. Just trying to stay level-headed.
I wasn't listening to a whole lot of new music during the writing process for this album. Not really intentionally, but it just happened that way. I had a lot more focus and time to do what I wanted. It was less rushed.
Playing show after show, it really just built my endurance, as far as how I can perform every night. It's just being able to go out there every day, just having the experience of performing these songs back to back, day in, day out. You really get to know the songs, you really get to know your own flaws, as far as things I may want to fix and change for the next record, next time around. Ultimate goal is just to go in there and record a great album, have a great performance. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of bad stuff on there.
It's.
I mean, like,
they're not going to play the whole thing. It'll just probably be. It might be like a blooper reel or something.
I mean, like, I was doing stuff on my camera.
Oh, okay.
That you might not want to look at.
Really?
No,
Okay.
So as some of you might know, we have this kind of thing going on where we're going to do 4 records, each of them being a different season of the year. The Conscious Seed of Light was spring, and now we've moved on to summer with Monarchy.
We wanted to have something a little bit more simple than the last record. We don't want to have an overload of lyrics. You know, we want to be able to let the music breathe a little more on this record than we did the last one. And this way, the complexity of music can be understood a little more without having an overbearing amount of like vocal patterns or weird things going on, you know, as far as timing, stuff like that.
It's always going to be personal stuff in the lyrics, you know, the writers, you know, me, Jake, and myself, you know, our own personal feelings coming through it. But there's just sort of this lens over top of it of like spring or summer or fall or winter. So the language changes a little bit and the feelings are kind of etched out in a different way.
We wanted to deliver this presence of being in a very dry atmosphere that's dominated by the sun, and kind of bringing the people of that area, bring the people of that civilization to a point where they have to face themselves and they have to face the reality of what's going on.
On the first record, it was more each song was its own kind of little concept idea, one of its own little story that, you know, projected itself further along the line, and there was a build up into the climax of the final song where it tied everything together. On this record, it is the continuation of that sort of story, but there's more of a narrative through line through every song. It starts with a certain, you know, narrative plot point, and it builds through the characters up through the end of the record. It's a little more constructed in that way.
We wanted to have something that would collaborate and kind of like fit really well together. You know, kind of make sense from the beginning song to the last song.
I think this time there was more focus on there being these sort of peaks and valleys where you can kind of delve into different emotions more thoroughly. We have a lot more quiet sections, and there's acoustic guitars, and there's more melodic stuff, and just open valleys where, you know, we're not all just showing off all at once, which I think you can really feel what's going on a little bit more. But I mean, of course, there's still all that, you know, bulldozery, blast beat goodness for everyone to enjoy.
This one has 2 sections. One of them's a strumming section, and one of them's more of a like a picked out kind of.
Okay, so early 2014, I got a message from Brody asking my situation of maybe joining Rivers for a tour And basically what we did is he exchanged MP3s of the tracks. I got him down pretty quick, made a video. We got together, had a good jam, and well, the rest is history.
Alan is a very, very busy drummer, but in a completely coherent way. You know, whereas a lot of drummers that I've seen, you know, when you use the word busy, it can be used as an insult. With Alan, I think it's more of a compliment, because he really does take that busyness and convert it into something that's understandable to the average listener.
He's done some things with the drums on these songs that I wouldn't have even been close to picturing myself.
I write the drums on, you know, just on my computer, and then I send them to him, and he kind of takes his ideas and, you know, moves my stuff around and makes it his own. So it's pretty cool to see how I can take something that sounds relatively robotic and he can make it sound, you know, like a living, breathing creature.
Alan being so far away from us, you know, writing his drum parts 300 miles away, it gave a bit of a disconnect, but at the same time, like, we were so, like, when he came and started, you know, recording his drums here, everything clicked so well. Like, we had so many similar rhythmic ideas that it just sounds awesome.
As far as having the newbies, you know, join the Rivers squad here, Jon and Alan are phenomenal musicians. They're great players, and most importantly, they're great people. They have a really good attitude about everything. On top of the fact that they're exceptional players, you know, I mean, Alan is phenomenal. Like, he's really self-critical with himself. He knows what he wants. He knows what he needs to work on. He's not afraid to face himself, you know, and he's a real personable person. You know, he's easy to get along with, easy to talk to. So that really makes the world go around, you know, being in and out of the studio, in and out of the road.
And Jon, he's come into the band more recently. He's a really good guy to have around in the band, because, you know, not only is he a killer musician and an awesome guitar player, but he also knows a lot about recording and stuff like that. So when we have ideas, we can just send them back to each other and make edits to our tracks, and it's no problem. There's no technological barrier there with him.
He's a weirdo, but he's a good guy, you know. He's just a little silly.
Jon, he's a goofy motherfucker. He's a great guy. He's a good heart. He plays exceptionally well for as goofy as he is.
He contributed one song on this album, and I think it's probably the most difficult song that we've ever had as a band.
And it's easily one of the hardest to perform Rivers of Nile songs ever.
There's just really good vibes, honestly, and it's really awesome having two new people in the band that deliver so much more than just good music.